It's hard to get out of there when you're. I'm sorry? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Today's Monday, October 13th, 2025, and we're gathered here at our district offices for our HR Business Services Committee meeting. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started with our Human Resources Report for October. So here's some managers' minutes. We have reached tentative agreements with both the Directors Association and the Food Services Union, and each group plans to vote on their contracts soon, and we plan to bring them to our regular board meeting soon for approval. Human Resources has still not received a demand to bargain from either the NCBAA or the DWEA groups, so that's a little update on some negotiations. Some things that our HR resources team has been working on in November: Benefits and Innovo will hold a meeting for retirees to discuss the U-Care plan, termination, and review alternatives to healthcare options. We have nearly finalized all revisions of clerical job descriptions, and you will, I know our chair, or my members of the HR, we saw those in our packet today. There's a lot of job descriptions that we were able to read through over the weekend. There are several lingering, but the majority have been revised to be more position-specific and applicable to their workload. Our benefits and payroll teams are preparing and educating themselves on the upcoming changes to the Minnesota paid leave that starts January of 2026. And I will highlight one of the job descriptions that kind of relates to that a little bit. Any questions so far? Okay, thank you. And then some upcoming changes and improvements to the department. We would like to welcome today Stephen Johnson to the department as the new Human Resources Manager. Welcome. At the same time, we must say goodbye to our fearless leader, Teresa Severance, who is the Executive Director of Human Resources and Operations, as she heads to a new career path. Superintendent Magus?
Sure. Yes, I just wanted to say welcome to Steve as well. He comes from a strong background in human resources with over 15 years of human resources experience in healthcare as well as higher ed, and really grateful to have him. I'm temporarily serving as the interim director of human resources while we go through the hiring process, and we have that process posted for the director of human resources. But having Stephen here at the table, because it's the human resources business meeting, and if there are questions that are in need of more detail, I wanted to make sure he was present for you, and it's also a great opportunity to get to know Stephen a little better.
Great, thank you, Superintendent Magus, and welcome, Stephen.
Thank you. Happy to be here and excited for this opportunity.
Great, thank you. I have a quick question actually about the U-Care plan. And if you don't have the answer, that's okay. And maybe I should have emailed it, but it says to discuss the U-Care plan termination and review alternative healthcare options. So I'm just curious about that, and if we don't have an answer today, that's okay. I didn't know why it was being terminated. No, that's okay. We can look into it. I know that we have some transition right now.
Sure.
So, yep. Thank you. Great. Seeing no other questions or comments, we will move on to our enrollment report.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I do have questions.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were going to say something about the open positions area.
Oh, what's your question, Member Banks?
So I guess my question is either for the superintendent or Mr. Johnson. There are a significant number of open positions in the district, certified, non-certified, et cetera. What's the plan for filling these positions, or is the district going to fill any of those positions like in the near future?
Well, we certainly have them posted, and some of the positions post and fill more quickly than others. We do know that we have had some positions that have been challenging to fill. There are particularly a few teaching positions. One in particular, the science teaching position at Denfeld, I know has come to light. But typically many of the teacher, or many of the positions that are there are positions that are, positions that fill over time. So looking at the administrator positions, for instance, I know that one of the positions is just not, the person hasn't started yet, so that's one that is, should potentially slide off as an open position. But those are different things that we're working on. We also have our recruiting and retaining programs. We typically have, like you see, 14 paraprofessional positions open. That is not necessarily, unfortunately, uncommon to have quite a few para positions open, and we strive to fill them as quickly as possible.
Thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
Thank you for your question, Member Banks. Sorry, I skipped over that that piece there. So now we'll move on to the enrollment report. Not a whole lot of updates from last month. We are still about 200 students over what we budgeted for. We budgeted for 8,099. We did have a drop in about 20 ADM. However, that's pretty normal to see little fluctuations throughout the year. I looked through all of the data for the schools, looked at the month to month, and it all seems pretty similar to last month. The one jump that I noticed was on page, on the first page of the enrollment report for the Academic Excellence Online. Last month it said they had 49.67 ADM. Now they have 112.16. So that was one jump that I saw that was pretty significant. Any other things that my other colleagues would like to point out or questions? Okay. Otherwise, still really good news for our district. A lot of students are coming back to the district for all of our good programming. So next we'll move on to the child nutrition report. We finished up our first month of meals, serving an average of 2,300 breakfasts and 5,100 lunches across the district each day. Applications for educational benefits update. So we have 2,705 free students and 574 reduced students. And 489 applications processed through the online portal and paper applications mailed to child nutrition. And in September, so their staffing report, they interviewed and hired 8 employees, and currently we have 4 jobs open for child nutrition. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Then we will move on to our facilities department report. So construction has begun on the Duluth News Tribune, our First Street building, which is exciting. At the District Service Center, transportation, our building expansion here is nearing completion. New doors are set to be installed by Home Construction and Belknap Electric. Denfeld High School, still working on heating the clock tower. So that project is underway. We've heard about that a couple times, I feel like. And then I don't know, I'll go through all the schools. I know we read through them, but I'll just pick out a couple more. So Lowell Elementary is getting some new blinds installed, and Lakewood, they had to remove an underground fuel tank. So that was completed. Let's see what else we have here. Some upcoming changes and improvements to the department. So building operations summer cleaning was a success. Over the summer, the facilities operations cleaned approximately 1,753,095 square feet of building space. I can't remember if we covered that last time, but that is a significant number and fun to kind of think about. And we're very appreciative to our facilities department for making sure our schools are all clean and sparkling for students when they started the school year. And then we have some staffing report for facilities. We have some milestones to highlight. So we want to extend our deepest congratulations and sincere thanks to Elizabeth Ledoux and Daniel Colden for 40 years of service, continuous learning, and invaluable contributions. Both were successful candidates along with 25 others out of 250 applicants back in 1985. So that kind of stands out to me because things have kind of changed with hiring now compared to 1985. But we're very grateful for their service and just want to thank them and congratulate them. And then below, you'll see work orders. So as of September 2nd, we have 374 work orders in progress, and we have about 160 completed. Bless you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Any questions or comments on the facilities report? Member Banks?
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm just wondering regarding Myers-Wilkins and that guardrail installation, has that occurred yet?
That's down to the city's determination. We have not done anything yet.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have spoken. We are waiting from the city to hear about it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And I know that they've made a change from it being a guardrail to being, I think they're pronounced bulwarks or bulwarks. They're more bulbous things for stopping traffic. So that's a change in the way that will take place.
Great. Thank you for that question. Member Williams?
Yeah, I just wanted to also say a quick personal congratulations to Dan Colden because we worked at Hawks together. So I don't know if he's ever going to watch this, but yeah, I'm excited for him on his new adventure. So
Great. Thank you very much. Superintendent Mangus?
Great. So we were also discussing changes in structure, and with the departure of Executive Director Severance, as we've mentioned in previous meetings, we're changing that position a bit. It'll be a Director of Human Resources, but with that, Facilities is reporting to Executive Director Zunich. And so just for the public, wanted to make sure that was clear if questions are now going to Executive Director Zunich. But being as she's been in that role for 7 hours, she might not have every answer at your fingertips.
Great.
But by tomorrow, she will.
She's going to pull an all-nighter. No, thank you for pointing that out too. And I'd also just like to just extend gratitude to our partners at the city for their collaboration in getting that put up eventually, hopefully soon, just to make sure our school at Myers-Wilkins is as safe as it can be. Seeing no other questions or comments, we will move on to our technology report for highlighting our September activities. So Greg met with several tech vendors previously used by the district as we seek to identify the most suitable partners for product and service procurement in the months ahead. I think probably a lot to do with our smart boards, maybe. Quotes were sought for consulting services to assist with the replacement of core network infrastructure scheduled for the holiday break this winter. Weekly meetings have been held with technical staff and digital innovation specialists. And an in-person full department meeting was held in late September. And Greg attended the MAZA conference, meeting with a contingent of other tech directors from across the state. Topics discussed included technology staffing structures, AI policy, and AI training. So very thankful for Greg attending that conference and learning about those important technology-related initiatives. So some things that our technology department is working on: field techs and digital innovation specialists have been assisting with back-to-school technology needs throughout our district. I have a junior at East, and I know a lot of times things come up with the Chromebooks and things like that, so I really appreciate their work helping our students and our staff as well. Network staff are redesigning the placement of equipment in our rented data center space. Several pieces of unneeded equipment were removed this month, so we're seeking to reduce our footprint of rented space and recurring rental costs. Good to hear. Classrooms were identified at several schools to pilot new front-of-classroom display technology as we consider options to replace aging projectors and smartboards. Products began arriving for these rooms, and installation processes will begin this month. And a staffing report report for technology, our network architect position remains posted. It's now in its second reposting, awaiting qualified applicants. Any questions on our technology report or comments? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to our transportation report for this month. So after an initial challenging period at the start of the school year, we have successfully navigated student routing, parent communications, and bus operations. We are now in a more stable phase, focusing on route optimization, driver support, and addressing minor concerns. Yes.
Executive Director Zunich and Manager Kesapitas have been working very, very hard on this. So it's been a work in progress, but we're very glad to see that things have come together, and that's due to a lot of hard work by a lot of people, especially Jeremy Kesapitas and his team have worked many, many weekends with the folks from Voyager. And we're also working to have systems improvements too. We're trying to make sure that we have opportunity to get all of our special ed student routes in place earlier next year so that we don't have some of the hiccups that we've had this year.
Great. Thank you for your work on that, and Jeremy's as well. And I know a couple years ago, we implemented a new transportation software too. So just appreciate all the efforts of staff for continued operations and making them as smooth as possible. Member Banks?
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm asking so many questions, but I just wanted to, as I read the report, 484 routes that folks in the transportation department are responsible for. I'm just amazed at how they're able to do that. And can you share anything, Superintendent? These are some fantastic people making this happen for our kids, but I did not know it was that many routes. Very impressed.
Well, thank you, and I know you have a lot of history with transportation, also serving on the Duluth Transportation Authority Board previously and such, and you know how hard it is to make sure that we have good routes in place. I can't remember the number of miles that are covered by the routes, but I believe it's in the millions of miles each year. I also think that our commitment to equity that we've had in increasing our routes for students, especially secondary students that are over 1 mile but under 2 miles, that used to be a 2 mile limit, now it's a 1 mile limit. That has increased some of the routes a little bit. We also have hub service for our students, and we're working on after-school programming routes. So we really try to make sure that we reduce transportation as a barrier, which is tough in a district like Duluth. We're a very long district with a lot of rural spread out routes, and so making sure that we are getting students as quickly from point A to point B is challenging sometimes. Look at the Island Lake students who live there and trying to get them to East High School, and at the same time bringing students from as far as Knife River to Fond du Lac, from spreading. Whenever I bring somebody on a tour of Duluth Public Schools and they see how long it is, they're very, very surprised. But it's due to the really hard work of a great team. There was even an instance on Friday that I was made aware of where there was a struggle after school, and one of our bus drivers just really going above and beyond. There's so many times that our transportation people are really the unsung heroes of the district.
Yep, thank you for that, pointing that out, Member Banks, the stats in the spotlight with the 484 routes. Some other things that the transportation department's working on right now, they're actively developing routes for midday and special transportation needs that arise throughout the year due to changes in student requirements. Additionally, they're providing training to site staff for Type 3 vehicle operation, enabling them to become certified van drivers, which is great to hear since we invested in vans in the last couple years. Some upcoming changes to the department. I guess they've added stoplights to the garage doors that show the drivers if the door is completely open or if it's moving. And this will help drivers when they're backing out of the garage. So I can hardly back up my car, let alone, can't imagine the bus. No, I can back up the car, but a bus sounds difficult, so that sounds great. Any other questions or comments on transportation? We do really, really appreciate our bus drivers, though. Absolutely. Seeing none, we will move on to our recommended resolutions, which start on page 15 of our packet, if you have page numbers. So the first resolution is the resolution providing for the issuance, sale, and delivery of $38 million general obligation capital appreciation facilities maintenance bond, Series 2025A. And so this is part of our LTFM plan. You all remember that we gave permission during that LTFM process for the district to bond. And this is the resolution for the issuance, sale, and delivery of that bond. And it's kind of like the mortgage papers. You could kind of think of it as that. And I'm really pleased to share that in the original contract, we had said you could go up to 4.74%, but because of our really good credit rating and the work of the district to be really fiscally responsible and make sure that we are having that good credit rating with Moody's of the A3, we were able to get that's probably why, but we were able to get a 3.52% and really had a lot of strong demand from investors. So that's kudos to all the work in our. Thank you to Director Zunich for your work on our finances and to Superintendent Magus and all of our staff on the board for their work on that. So, great. Our next resolution, B, is B-10-25-4127, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of full-term certificates of participation, Series 2025B. And then you can find that on page 33. And this is related to the DNT building. So it's very similar to kind of the one we did before. Maybe I'll let Director Zunich speak on it a little bit.
Sure, thank you. This resolution is a parameters resolution, so it is the school board giving our financial advisors permission to go out into the market and purchase these bonds. So it's called a parameters resolution.
Seeing no other questions or comments on that resolution, I'll go through our other resolutions that we'll be bringing to the school board, I think next week. We have C is our acceptance of donations to Duluth Public Schools, and that is on starting on page 36, I believe. But, oh yeah, there's the page number. We have a lot, so it is multiple pages of donations. Just so much gratitude to our community for the way that you support our students and our schools and our teachers. It would take a while to read through them all, so I won't, but I'll highlight a couple. So for Lincoln Park Middle School, Subaru Adopt a Classroom, they did 6 $500 donations, so $3,000 for adopting some classrooms at Lincoln Park. The Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd donated some snacks for students out in Lakewood. And then Maurice's donated district-wide 40 boxes of clothes. And I know that when they donate clothes, they donate brand-new clothing for students. So very appreciative to all of our donors. Another one that I had highlighted is James and Kathy Doyle out at Denfeld. They donate every year to our athletic teams, and they donated some cross-country running and Nordic ski, softball, and golf gear. So I would definitely take some time to look through the multiple pages of these donations, but we just want to really lift up our community and appreciative of that. Our I guess it would be our fourth resolution is the acceptance of grant awards to Duluth Public Schools. And so we have the Ordine Foundation. gave a grant to Laura MacArthur Setting 3 Classroom, $1,000 for community outings to practice functional and social skills. Great to see that. And our last resolution is authorized bank account signer. So this is business as usual. We see this come across every now and again. And so this is for our community ed district building, authorizing Nathan Chapman as a authorized signer. Member Williams?
I have a question on donations. Sorry to go backwards. Just if you could explain the seats of success?
Yeah, I'm really glad that you asked that question because I had it highlighted here with a question mark and I didn't know what it was either, the Seats for Success. Does anyone know?
Yep, this was part of a Boost My School fundraiser that Peter Frolingsdorf put together, and he got new seating for his classroom.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I assumed it was some sort of platform fundraiser like that because of so many, but thank you for asking that. Seeing no other questions or comments on our resolutions that we're bringing forth, we will move on to our consent agenda where we have our HR staffing report. And that started on page 46, followed by a multitude of job descriptions. Again, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them were kind of related to our clericals. And we've been doing a lot of work making sure that the job descriptions match the tasks that our clericals are completing every day and that they reflect the hard work that they're doing. So that's what you're going to see a lot of in here. Obviously, we saw some cafeteria related, food service related job descriptions as well. And then if you flip the page, there's just a lot. One job description I did want to highlight, because we all read through them all, so if we have any specific questions, we can ask that. But on page 122 is a payroll specialist job description. And I just wanted to highlight that. That's new. And that position is going to focus on the complexities of like paid family medical leave, PFML, and then earned sick and safe time. That's a lot of those changes that have happened at the state do come with a lot of complexities. Does anyone else have anything to add about that? Superintendent Magus?
No, I was just going to add that we have a really great payroll department with one of our members is represented here today, and they really work hard on what we're focused on. But there are so many school districts right now there's very extensive training going on right now related to earned safe and sick time and the complexities, and it's going to be very, very burdensome and challenging. And so having somebody that specializes in that and can support that department is important for us, especially given the other changes we've had in human resources. We want to make sure that we are bolstering the strong people we already have in the department.
Member Banks?
Yes, just a clarification question. So of these positions that have been updated, is there a requirement to then go back and get approval by the unions, or what is the process, or if that's necessary?
The district has been in discussion with the unions on this. So for the food service one, Executive Director Severance met many times with Heather Davis of the AFSCME Council, got input from workers in the position, got input from Sheila Oak, who's the food service manager, and we're in agreement with Heather of the union and Teresa of the district. So they agreed on the food service job descriptions, and then same as all the clerical job descriptions underneath that. There was much back and forth between the district, the union, presenting job descriptions to the people in those positions, getting their input and their supervisor's input, meeting with the union again. So all these ones that are on here have been approved by the unions to be on here.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that really good question, Member Banks. And I would just wanted to say thank you to everyone for their hard work. I mean, our staff as well. And I was really glad to hear, so thank you for sharing, Becca, that our staff got consulted too on, what their job looks like, the tasks, the collaboration between the supervisors, the staff, the school district, the unions. This is a lot of job descriptions. It's a lot of hard work. So appreciate that. Superintendent Magus?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to our whole clerical union and all the people that serve in clerical and executive assistant roles. The district wouldn't function without you, and I know that many times you're the first, I sometimes think of you as like directors of first impression too, because when somebody comes into a department or comes into a school and is asking questions, you make all the difference. And I think it's really important that we have strong labor management connection and partnership when we're reviewing different positions and considering how we're moving forward. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all of our clerical individuals and the support they give to our district.
Oh, yeah. Director Zunich?
In conversation with previous executive director Severance, these positions have also already been banded and graded. So I just want to make that aware, okay?
Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments on the job descriptions, we'll move on to our financial reports. So we have our financial report on page 144. This is quite the packet here. We are about, depending on how you look at it, 0.25 or 16.5 of the way through the year. So there's not a whole lot on here. I always point out for the public, our school finances, we have many different revenue or funding pools, right? So we have our funds, our general fund, food service, transportation, community ed, operating capital, building construction, our debt service fund, the trust fund, dental insurance fund, and our student activities. So when we look at all of those, a lot of those are quite restricted to spending them on what we can spend them on. But really, we're not very far into the year. But I would open it up to questions or comments about the budget summary, but it looks pretty status quo to me for the beginning of October. Great, seeing no questions or comments on that. I would also highlight on page 145, we have our fundraisers that were reported. So again, a lot of fundraisers for a lot of different student-centered activities throughout the district. I see one for the Duluth East Band. I see one for Fine Arts Booster Club at Denfeld. One at Congdon for Wolf Ridge, selling Wolf Ridge calendars. So just a whole lot of fundraising happening kind of at the beginning of the year for some of those activities that the kids will get to enjoy throughout the rest of the year. Questions or comments on the fundraisers? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to our bids, RFPs, and quotes. So I would turn your attention to page 147. We have bid number 1341 for the roof replacement project for the Duluth News Tribune First Street building. And you can see there kind of who made the bids and who we're going with. Garland / DBS Incorporated with McDowell Company install for that roof replacement. I just would ask, are we using prevailing wages and union labor on these?
Yes. Executive Director Zunich, sorry, didn't mean to call you in on that.
Sorry.
But talking about bids, so, but we always use prevailing wage, and we always, we're always seeking to work with, you know, our first objective is to make sure that we have the best product for our students and families and make sure that we're doing things in a cost-effective way. We also want to make sure that we're working with union labor whenever we can, and we also strive to seek local union labor. So those are kind of the criteria that we look at. But I don't know if there's anything else you'd want to add about our bidding process.
Well, we do have a policy that we follow, that it is prevailing wage. And then, of course, we always strive for the lowest bid. And if we cannot use that vendor, then there are other attributes that we look at. Are they local? Are they union? And those type of things. But the lowest bid is somewhat what we're obligated to go for first, and they have to have a prevailing wage.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Follow-up question, a couple months ago, we were given an update that maybe our RFPs would go out onto the district website on a page. What is the timeline for that?
I will follow up with that.
No problem,
Thank
thank you. And our second RFP, so it's an RFP number 330, roof replacement project at Stowe, for Stowe Elementary. So that's on page, well, 150, it says 151, lots of pages. Oh, yeah, here it is. So you will see that one in there as well. So you'll see that some bids were not submitted, some were, and then the company that we're going with again is that Garland DBS. Any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on through our hundreds of pages here. So we have so we'll move on to our contracts, change orders, and leases. So here's where we're gonna see, number one, our contract for the bond purchase agreement, general obligations, capital appreciations, facilities maintenance bonds, and then the contract for the underwriting engagement letter, multiple offerings, bond series 2025A and 2025B. So, questions on those contracts, comments?
I would like to make a comment. Are we on the expenditure contracts?
We are not quite to expenditure contracts yet, almost.
I'm jumping ahead. Okay, sorry. I'll
Nope, that's
talk when we
okay.
talk.
Okay. Well, seeing none, no, we can move on to our expenditure contracts, which start on page 177. We see a lot of those listed here, along with the contracts in the back. And now I'll let you make a comment.
Thank you. I spoke with Facilities Manager Brian Brown this morning, and yes, we are presenting contracts now for the work done downtown on the First Street project. Starting in November, Brian will be coming to our HR Business Services meeting and giving you a 5-minute update on what's happening down there. We thought maybe the board would like to know what the update is every month, so.
No, I think that would be really great.
He also told me that they are taking daily pictures. So at some point we'll be, I'm not sure where we'll put them, but they are taking daily photos. They've invited the board to take a tour again, and if you'd like. And they have a weekly construction meeting, so. Okay, thank
Member
you.
Banks?
Yeah, can I just ask a quick question about that building related to the first day of opening? Is it still staying within what was suggested or mentioned? Or is that going to, is there going to be any concern there?
To my knowledge, the anticipated date is still August of '26. Thank you.
Superintendent Magus?
Yes, and that's our hope and intention. I know that some people have talked about architectural plans have already been put in place, and we've paused a year while we considered some programmatic changes and while we worked on things, and I believe it's important for us to move forward at this time. So work is well underway. It's pretty exciting, and we will work as hard as we can to make sure we open on time.
Great, thank you for that. Good question again. Yeah, when you think about what's going on in the world with tariffs, and even looking at the work, you know, each month we see the change orders come through, which are sometimes smaller, but, you know, you run into things when you're working on big construction projects too. So appreciate the update on that and the work to get it done in a timely manner. And thank you, Director Zunich, for those. It'll be great to have Brian here giving an update, because when I was looking through the multitude of expenditure contracts, most of which relate to the DNT, it'll be really helpful to have him here. So, were there any questions, though, related to any of our other expenditure contracts? There were a lot for facilities, some for transportation, HR, some for special services, early childhood, and then some of our individual schools. Okay, seeing no questions or comments on those, we can look at our no-cost contracts, which start on page 328. So there was a few, which are always great to see, no-cost contracts. But one with the Minnesota Department of Education for Duluth Adult Education. It's a consortium agreement. One with the St. Luke's Birthing Center for Early Childhood. ECFE parent educators will provide amazing newborn visits with families of newborn children 2 to 3 times a week, year-round, with the exception of school breaks, and it's also dependent on staff availability. And then we have a no-cost contract with the American Red Cross for teaching, learning, and equity, licensed training provider agreement. And then one with Solient Health for special services. This is an addendum changing assignment, the start date, so changing the start date of that. Any questions on our no-cost contracts? Seeing none, we'll move into our grant applications, which are on, or no, we do have some revenue contracts, actually. A couple revenue contracts on page 355. One with Northwoods Children's Services. This is the FY26 lease for room space at Laura MacArthur Elementary. And then we have one with Northeast Service Cooperative for Career and Tech Ed. This funding is to help cover the cost of starting a student-based enterprise at East High School, starting a student-run cafe. Yay, that's exciting. I can't wait to get a tour of East this year and hear more about it. But Superintendent Magus, do you have something to add to that?
No, I just think that those types of programs are very rewarding for our students that are working in them, and it's also a great pleasure for our staff and visitors to be able to visit those places. And so as it opens, I would highly encourage board members to consider a visit there for some great interaction with our kids and opportunity to eat.
Absolutely, thank you. I know they did a good job on the last couple of years. They've done that burger contest with other school districts too. So for anyone listening in the community, keep an eye out for that. It's usually in the spring, and it's pretty fun. I think it was Burger Paradox kind of highlighted, was it Denfeld's Burger this year?
Yes, they took one of the Denfeld burgers, which I think was a Greek sort of based burger, and they had it as their special for a month, and some of the proceeds went to Denfeld, I believe Denfeld CTE, but I'm looking at Simone, maybe it didn't, but I believe that's where it went.
Either way,
Either way, they were delicious.
You are the superintendent interim in HR manager.
either way, it's a great opportunity to come out and support our students and leave with a food coma. So, So we have two more things on our agenda. On page 375, we have our grant applications. So it looks like some people have been busy. We have 4 grant applications coming across. So one is $3,500 for Duluth East Culinary Arts. One is for $50,000 for computer science at middle schools. These funds will be used to scaffold and support middle school students in a unified robotics program if we receive it. And then there was a grant for $1,000 for Laura MacArthur Setting 3 classroom for community outings, and then 3 $250 grants totaling $750 for Laura Mack, after-school programming, student projects, student council, and then the 4th and 5th Diamond and Pearls, assuming that's a student group, but Superintendent Magus?
Sure. I just want to point out a name that we see all over our agendas quite often, somebody who actually is receiving an award for some of her teaching efforts and leadership efforts, but Cindy Miller, she always is going above and beyond, seeking resources and providing guidance around technology, guidance around our media centers, and Cindy Miller is coming forward with this $50,000 grant opportunity. It just shows that she's always seeking resources for our students, and I know she's not here right now, but I'm very appreciative of their incredible work, in addition to the work of the other people on the list.
Great. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I saw that too, and yeah, grants take a lot of time to write and research for, so I really appreciate the work of everyone on this list that put efforts into that area. So fingers crossed on those grants. The last item on our agenda is our change orders signed. So that was on page 376. You'll just see a couple change orders related to, I think, the work. Let's see. One is for Lowell Elementary brick and block repair, and one had to do with the parking lot at East. But as we've kind of covered, change orders are pretty common when it comes to bigger construction projects, so understandable. Any questions or comments on anything on our agenda or our change orders? Great, seeing none, we will conclude our HR Business Services. Thank you.